So we're back on the ninth episode of America to Korea. This is the star quality evaluation episode, and for this one, the girls get to do it's kind of a talent show. But really, what he's always been looking for is the ability to express yourself through whatever like personal passions you have, and then if someone is connected to being able to express themselves, that kind of contributes to how they can connect to their fans. And so that's one of the reasons he does it. But he also, it's not like it's always been perfect. You imagine, oh yeah, you show a talent, you're fine. It's not about the talent. It's about the connection. And he has like reamed people out before for like, maybe they're just gonna dance or sing or do something. Even doing like a talent like swing batons, and maybe there's no soul in it. And so he does like look for like the ability to express yourself and connect with people, and not have it feel like kind of just like you're going through the motions, but he wants to make sure you're actually conveying the message and connecting with people. So he wants to know that your talent is like you're expressing yourself through it, and it's your art. So let's just get into the first one. So the first one up is KG. And so KG, what she did was she did some original song, and she mixed it with a sneakers. So she did Porcelain Queen, mixed it with sneakers, and she wants to show that she's been a songwriter for a long time, and she knows how to like. I guess she produces the songs as well. But it looks like there's also a guy there who also produces it with her. And so during the talent show, she was playing the piano, she was singing, and then she also brought out a basketball at one point and played with it. And so my opinion on this is that even though like I did feel like the enunciation was kind of funny for the beginning of her song, I did feel like it was kind of unique, and there were certain points of the song that it did feel like interesting enough to kind of like pierce through just being kind of a blah song. So she does have the talent to make songs, which I think if she does go a little bit further, it could be like something really good. And then the basketball part, for me, the basketball stuff, it felt the most sincere to me. Like when she was doing this, like this reminds me of like me teaching my nephew how to play hoops, and I'm trying to show him all these tricks too. And I just loved it. I like this part. It feels like this is like real. Like this is like she probably learned it at home. She has brothers. She probably like I don't know if she plays with her dad, but I think that's a cool thing. Like for a person to be able to do that and enjoy it and get good at it, really do it to a point you get where you get good at it. I feel like that's where I got to see like her drive. And so a lot of people would say that KG, she's kind of there's a barrier between her and other people, or maybe she's just too different that she doesn't often express herself well in a way that you can connect to her. But when you look at her do stuff like this, then you start to see where she's coming from. Like she has a drive to do things and apply herself. And in this, like it looks like it's something that she's good at, and she likes it because she's gotten good at it, and she's honed it, and she finds value in the things she works for. And I would say that could be the same thing for her music and her ability. Now, I've never had a problem with the stylistic aspects of her singing, but JYP, he basically like I kind of like I suspected he would be like, oh, that doesn't sound really like you, but he didn't do it this time. He actually said, I love your original songwriting. So I guess he was just looking for the soul of her song. He was looking for how good it was and unique it was, and he would say, oh yeah, that's her. Maybe JYP's coming around now and saying, I get you more, and I get that. Yeah, you're making these choices. You're not just like wearing them like it's something fake, but you're personally like choosing to do these things as a form of expressing a part of yourself that maybe he couldn't connect with at first, but maybe he sees it more. Also, he loved the basketball as well, and so from that she did get a star quality stone, and I think that's a good start to this talent show so far. So the next one up was Kendall, and she came out with a beret. She was gonna show her art, but there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that said that she was a kind of a self starter in regards to the art, and she didn't train like traditionally or anything and go to school or anything like that, but she was just doing it out of her own passions. And so, as someone who does has been doing art for a long time and also teaches art, I would say her art is actually quite good. Like I would say that in this point of the game, uh, the sincerity is really strong in these expressions of her work. And as someone who always looks at art and understands art on a deep level, I would say her art actually does invoke movement and life. And so, regardless of the technical ability, like maybe like the humans she draws aren't that anatomically correct, I would say that she still invokes the essence of them, and I feel like that's more important, regardless of like your technical know-how. Like you got to spend a long time learning the biology of people, and even I have trouble with it sometimes. And so, I would say that, and what's more important is that her art actually expresses the message, and you don't really need it to be that exact. In fact, little art is actually very exact when you look at it closely. It's just how it comes together in the whole, and then if everything is kind of skewed in the art, the whole art itself is complete and unified. So don't worry about like if you're doing art, don't worry about like whether or not you're good at everything. If you do everything and just complete the whole piece, I think you'll find that will be quite beautiful, and people will see it as beautiful as well because they know that it's not about the technical exactness. Otherwise, you would just take a photo, right, or use AI to do stuff like that. It's about what you're expressing, and so during her whole presentation, she was like working with this kind of wire piece that she was like folding around, and eventually she did finish it. And what happened is this little wire here, it eventually became a kind of like a dog, like a little dog pendant that she gave to JYP. And I was actually surprised when I saw it as well because you didn't know where she was going until the very end that she saw it on this pendant, and she ended up giving it to JYP, and he liked it a lot. And for JYP, I think he nailed it this time because for a long time they didn't show this part of Kendall for all of us, right? And we didn't know this part of Kendall because we weren't there. We're not there in person. And I always warned, ever since the beginning, don't show too much of Kendall until you show who Kendall is. Like don't praise her for connecting to people until you give them something to connect to. And now they finally did it. And JYP, now he nailed it. He said that in her everyday life, she expresses herself really well. I guess in her art and in just her ability to like even talk. He says like she's good at doing that as well, and that translates over to her dance and her singing, regardless of technical perfection. And this is the same thing I said about the art. Her art is not technically perfect, but she expressed it really well. And so I feel like this is the tipping point for Kendall. Like this is the point where, whether or not you're on the fence, I feel like she's a shoe-in for the group now, because now that she has this point, like she has a point where you saw her sad, and now she has a point where you see her in her stable self and her happy self, and now you have these anchors where anyone can connect with her now because they'll know where she came from, they'll know who she is. It's pretty plain, simple person who like keeps to herself but expresses herself through art. Like this is we know who she is now, and so for me, it's like I don't think she's gonna have any more trouble. She's gonna be okay for the rest of the show. But the next one is Camilla. Now Camilla, she came out and she said she was gonna do rapping, and then it's self-written rapping, and then it's also rapping in 3 languages: Spanish, French, and English. And it's kind of funny because like when she said that she could do French, JYP asked her to say something in French, and then he put Gina's resume on the spot by saying, "What did she say?" And Gina was like, she speaks good French. She didn't bother translating it. And I don't think Gina's first language is French, but she apparently knows it to some degree. And I thought that was really funny, because it reminded me of a Boys Planet episode where Matt was like put in the spot to speak French, and his French is okay, it's pretty good, but I could have sworn that he said, I do not speak French or something, and like he was just kind of confused, like, or maybe he was just nervous. But I thought that was funny because she had a chance to prove her resume and she didn't. I'm talking about Gina, of course. But when it came to Camilla, she definitely proved her resume here, because to me her rap was like so good, and especially when she went to Spanish first, and that was fine. But then when she went to French, like she was like rolling those R's, and I loved her French rap. Like personally, I love French rap, and like if you guys listen to this old song called 7 Seconds, it's by Yusu Endor and Nene Cherry. There's a part where the guy is rapping in French, and it sounds so good, just like the sounds of the language. And she basically proved that at this point she's an all-rounder. She raps, she sings, she dances, she has star quality. Camilla might be the most ahead contestant right now at this point. And, I just suspect her to be a good singer. I didn't know she'd be good at everything else. But now she's proving it that she is. And so, JYP, he basically said the same thing. She sounded even better in other languages. He specifically liked the Spanish, and I don't know if just that he doesn't know Spanish and French. Maybe he meant one or the other, but he did specifically say Spanish. So hopefully that's what he meant. But he said that she seemed very sincere in her rap as well. Like she wasn't being a poser. She wasn't like trying to sing like someone else, like a thug rapper or anything. Uh, and so I feel like she's way ahead now, and she definitely got a pendant for that. Everyone has gotten a pendant so far. That's three for three, and now we're going to the next one. Now the next girl up is Yuna, and of course Yuna has not been doing so well. She's been like uh, having trouble with her dance, and she had troubles with vocal, probably even more than anything. And that's like where people start to doubt her, I think. But she comes out in this trench coat, and then they do this montage of like her poor performances so far. I don't know if that's like to build up or to kind of like sabotage her. I don't think they should have shown that stuff, but I guess it's kind of important to some degree. But this episode did go 3 minutes longer than their normal budget, and so I don't know if it was necessary to show everything, but they did. And so she said she was kind of doing like a sort of audition and costume design thing. So she's gonna show off her talent for sewing and tailoring. Now, me personally, I'm a really good tailor, by the way. I had to learn tailoring because I hated fashion in stores, and so I learned it myself taught myself how to tailor clothes completely from scratch. Like I'll go to the fabric store, I'll buy the fabric, and then like I'll just make my own like coats and stuff. But at the same time, like I can actually walk into any store. Like if I walk into a store and I walk into like a Burberry or something, and then I see like this $3,000 coat, and I'm like, this isn't worth 3,000. I'll go and make that coat for like $200 or something. And so I know all about tailoring, and I know like how it can be kind of like complicated, and you have to really get experience to kind of avoid the pitfalls of it. And so I'm impressed that she can do it for herself. Of course, if you're like young and you have a small figure, and you can like also build stuff together from other coats, like she says that she does build some from scratch, but she also remixes stuff, which is I think is cool too. But yeah, she basically came out, and she's first they kind of rolled out this red carpet, and they started playing a music video, and everyone was so confused. But then the music video started playing, and it was like in mix, and then it paused suddenly, and everyone was like, "What's going on? There's some error." And then she comes out, and she's in an outfit that matches the style in the video. Like I'm not gonna say it's exact because I don't believe it was exact, but it was close enough to be like, "Oh yeah, she's like, I see what she's doing, right?" And then so this is like another level of like she's not just doing a fashion show here, but she's kind of like connecting it with people at home who maybe like understand like who Nmix is, who Twice is, like right, and who what's the other one? What I can't remember the third. It was Wonder Girls, yeah, Wonder Girls. And so yeah, she gets to do this, and she gets to kind of show off some dance as well. But we already know that she's kind of a good dancer. But obviously, this isn't the same as being judged for choreo. I don't know what's gonna happen at the end. Like, I don't know if she showed enough to kind of like express her dance to get a dance stone. But I still feel like maybe she should have gotten a dance stone just compared to the other ones. But anyways, uh, JYP, he liked this performance. He thought it was a brilliant idea. And he said that she herself actually outshined her outfits. And it was funny because, like, all the chat in YouTube were like, oh, her talent is that she's a visual. But it's not that she's a visual. It's that she understands geometry. She can, like, make outfits and curve the waistline properly, and, come up with the right measurements and stuff. It's not easy to do tailoring, and it's not easy to, like, when you're sewing it, like putting it together, and to make it like look nice and neat and stuff. You have to like get a lot of practice with it. And so I was impressed with what she did. She got a stone for it. It's her first stone, and so finally she got a stone, and she's like in the game now. But the next one's gonna be like I feel like it's a team performance, and so I don't know if she can get like all three stones from that, but unless her whole team puts it together. But what's interesting about that is that if the whole team does work together, you have the benefit of everyone honing your skills. And so if she gets paired up with like Camilla's gonna be like, this dance has got to be in this timing, right? And if she gets with like again Camilla's the all-rounder now. Camilla can say your dancing has to be in this timing, your vocals has to be in like this and stuff, and I mean she could be elevated just from that experience alone. But anyways, next one it goes into Christina. and they don't show that she gets the stone right away. But she comes out as Science teacher. She does this periodic table rap, which I thought was hilarious. Like I just like that. And for me, it's just like every time I see Christina, it reminds me of my first job. I got this job at this office building, and I had this project manager, and I was a designer, right? And I just like she just looks exactly like her, and just reminds me of it. And she has the same sense of humor too. And so for a long time, we've seen Christina. She's kind of like, oh, she seems like a girl who does her homework and stuff. Like Christina, definitely a girl who does her homework and just works hard. But here we get to see her being funny and just kind of like connecting with people. She's like a girl with, she probably has a lot of guy friends too. She's probably like that type of person. If she's anything like my project manager, she's that type of person. And I think she's cool and she's definitely. I feel like JYP even said, you know how to make yourself look good, and so I feel like she did a good job here as well. She did get a stone, by the way. We find out later, but we don't find out until after the Misha thing. Misha comes up next, and Misha, she kind of gets summarized. She does ballet, sort of, or something, and then they basically show like two moves, and then it's over. Like she just gets summarized. So I guess they didn't really like want to place too much emphasis on it and her facial expressions and stuff. Like I would have liked to have seen it, but JYP said she was like was it almost perfect. For that, like I feel like hey, you can kind of give her a dance tone for that, right? Could you? If she does better, maybe. But I feel like the summarizing is kind of like indicative that she's gonna be like dropped or something, because the show doesn't want to spend time with her. The show didn't even spend time on just like a lot of like failed auditions, and so it seems like the show's just being efficient and just like trying to get not too much people to be attached to her, so that they won't like what do you call it, protest it. And then the last one is Savannah, and Savannah is doing a flute show, and at first she had like this covering on, and when she was playing the flute, I'm like, oh, it's kind of good, it's kind of basic so far though, but not to downplay it or anything. But then she takes off her coat and then she starts doing gymnastics. So here she's doing these gymnastics moves, and in between them she's doing dance as well. And I actually like really like this because it was like showing the warm side of her. And for me, it was like when I'm looking at this, it's like she's actually putting on like a full show. Like if you look at other ones, it's kind of like a funny kind of like it's kind of like a 1 minute talent show. You know what I mean? But when we got to Savannah, it's kind of like this is like it could be a sideshow on like the Vegas stage or something. If she was like doing something way grander, but it just felt like a complete show. And so JYP basically said that her performance is yelling at him to pick her, and I agree with that. I feel like she's like really showing like her ability to just like smile with the audience, be like something that you can like admire and look up to and stuff. And she was having a lot of fun as well. And so that's basically Savannah. She got the stone as well. All 7 girls got stones. And so this is going to be the good week. I don't know what's going to happen next week. There's 4 girls left. I don't know if some of them are going to get like no star stones, but I think that would be the worst stone not to get after so many people succeed. And so that's this show. There's no bingo because there's nothing new in bingo. But let's look at the roster so far. Let's pause this one. And so here we are updated. We've got 7 stones on the board. Savannah, Christina, Camila, KG, Misha, Kendall, and Yuna. And just looking at the complete stones so far in terms of like people who haven't missed on getting the stones, you can see that Camila, KG, and Kendall are kind of locked in there. I don't think they're in any danger. In terms of the people with 2 stones, you have Christina and Savannah, who are people who have the star quality and the dance stones, and then you have Kaylee and Gina, who are people who have. Well, I think it's a little bit early to talk about the other people with 2 stones because we don't know if they're going to get star quality stones yet. So I'll just leave those guys out for now. But right now you have Christina and Savannah, and they've gotten 2 stones, and so I feel like those are 2 good additions to the team as well. And I just wouldn't see them being dropped. Other than that, the people who did perform this week are Misha and Yuna, who are 1 stoners, and they got them this week. And so I would have liked to see Misha's ballet, I think it would have been fair to show her performance just because if you are gonna drop her, I mean, it'd be nice for her to be able to show that she was on a talent show as well. You know, it's like as part of her resume. Yuna, I'm glad that she got to show off her like growth and being connected to the fans. Like all of chat loved her performance, and like I said, she is actually like center material, I guess, in terms of her visual. And I would like to see her in a group. So it would be like I think it would be a mistake not to like take her to Korea and train her. And so there's that. And then Misha, I guess they're gonna. I mean, I feel like they're gonna drop her. It just seems like that's the case because you don't summarize someone unless it's like you feel it's wasted on them. And so that's this week's. And next week we're gonna see four more: Lexi, Kaylee, Gina, and Melissa. We'll see how it goes. Looks like Melissa sings again, according to the previews. Don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like everyone should get a stone for this. I don't think it's that difficult. But I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.